So I'm going to talk about steer tubes on forks. So the fork is the thing that holds the front wheel, right? So that defines a fork. And the steer tube is the part of the fork that you don't see. You shouldn't see it. And essentially, it's the part that interfaces with the frame. It goes through the head tube of the frame. And so let me mention one thing. I remember a little piece of advice. Somebody told me, they said, when you get a bike, you put your name and phone number on the steer tube and put like on an index card and tape it because it'll stay there forever. And if somebody steals your bike, they're not going to know about it. And if ever it goes to a bike shop, you're going to get your bike back. You know what I mean? So I used to do that. Don't do it anymore. But it's actually a good idea for safety and security of getting your bike eventually, right? All right, so let's talk about the materials of steer tubes. So steer tubes come in three different flavors essentially: steel, aluminum, and carbon. And I'm biased. Okay, I'm extremely biased. Yeah, there are multiple companies over the years. First of all, it's gonna be really hard to buy a road fork that does not have a carbon steer and a carbon crown. The crown is the part that goes, it's between the fork and the steer. Is called a crown. And that's not my kind of thing. There are many companies over the years in the bike industry that have recalls on headsets. So the headset is the bearing that essentially the frame and the fork connect through. And some of these headsets have actually cut the carbon steer tubes. And essentially you get catastrophic failures. And these are generally cyclists, like real cyclists, like skinny guys. Like I used to be a real cyclist. I'm not a real cyclist anymore. I'm fat, No, I used to race at 162 pounds. I'm in the 200-pound range now. So anyway, after seeing multiple recalls on the headsets and failures of these forks, generally on road bikes, I want nothing to do with a carbon steer. And honestly, I don't want a carbon crown either. And so I haven't had a road bike in a few years. I don't know if you can buy one anymore. Aluminum steers are really hard to get. Maybe I can get them, but I don't even have a road bike, so it's probably best that I don't get one. But I remember, last time I actually got a road bike with a carbon steer, and so I changed it, and it was really, really, really hard to find an aluminum steer. I got a carbon fork, but the fork's fine. It's a steer tube, don't worry about it. You can see the fork if there are problems, imperfections, or you can take care of them. You'll know about the fork, you'll see it. But what's in the steer, you're never going to see it. If something's cutting it, you're never going to know. So I remember it was really, really hard to get an aluminum steer as well as aluminum crown, and that was a long time ago. So I don't know that it's possible. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But regardless, I'm not getting a road bike. So these carbon steer tubes are just not my cup of tea. But mind you, I'm biased, and it's based on fear. But there's a little bit of knowledge in it. A carbon is very strong. I mean, it's much stronger than the other two materials as far as cross-sectional strength. That being said, it gets kind of weak when you start to cut it. So no big deal. And I've not heard of any similar failures with aluminum or steel, especially steel. Steel's like awesome. Anyway, but yeah, generally, aluminum is the go-to for steer tubes. Why is it the go-to? It's very simple because it's light. Not as light as carbon, but it's actually very light relative to steel, and it works. And it's worked for decades. I don't even know how long. I mean, I can't comment on the time period that they've used aluminum, but it's not a short period of time, that I can tell you. And most quality forks, like for generations, had aluminum steer tubes. So I trust them. I definitely have to trust them. The knock on aluminum is that if it fails instantly. But that's really not been an issue with steer tubes. Usually that's a knock on different parts of bicycles, steer tubes. But I don't think that applies, that logic applies there. And then you have steel, right? So steel is, historically the go-to because I mean everything was made out of steel. If you talk about a century ago, bicycles were steel, forks were steel, steer tubes, which I'm talking about now, were steel. So a long time ago everything was steel. So and steel is great because it it tells you what's going on. What does that mean? If there's something not right, it'll let you know for a long time before it fails. It's like, it's like, oh, it's breaking, you're gonna know. If you ignore it, then that's on you. But if something's not right with something made out of steel, it always informs you that something is happening. And please take care of me, right? You don't have these catastrophic failures like you have, with carbon. And you have that with aluminum, but not really with steer tubes. It's not really applicable. So generally, we've used steel steer tubes on every bike from the beginning. That's been something we've done. And honestly, I plan to continue that. We'll see. Eventually, we might go to aluminum, but it's not really something I'm too excited about at this point. I don't know. It's just not a big deal either way. Right? The weight savings is minimal, and we'll see. But yeah, so watch out for the carbon stuff unless you really know that your headset is quality and the bearings are installed correctly. Right? Some people put the bearings in upside down, especially on the bottom race. It happens. I did that when I was a young kid. I think everybody does it when they're a young kid. So yeah, just not a big fan of the carbon stuff, but do whatever you think is best for yourself. Thank you very much for watching.